ever wonder what forgotten treasures are hiding in the corners of your childhood memories? Today, we're blowing the dust off 20 beloved toys from the 1970s, the ones that filled our days with wonder, laughter, and imagination. Get ready to step back into a world where joy came in the simplest forms. Knit Magic. Knit Magic arrived like a quiet revolution, slipping into living rooms and sparking a wave of tiny, determined hands, weaving bright strands into scarves, hats, and little gifts of love. Without needing a single needle, young makers could dive into a world where creativity threaded through every loop. I still remember sitting cross-legged by my grandmother's rocking chair, fingers clumsy, but heart swelling with pride, as I crafted a crooked, lopsided scarf that she wore anyway, beaming as if it were spun from gold. Knit Magic didn't stop at making something decorative. It nurtured patience, honed problem-solving skills, and offered the quiet reward of crafting with one's own two hands. It unlocked new avenues for expression that many little dreamers had never ventured down, offering a glimpse into the fulfilling art of handmade work. Though today's fast-paced world offers quicker amusements, the experience of transforming a simple spool of yarn into something warm and real still holds a vivid charm. Toys like Knit Magic remind us how powerful it can feel to bring something lasting to life, built solely with persistence, resourcefulness, and a humble plastic machine that turned everyday afternoons into something unforgettable. Lite-Brite. Do you remember the wonder of turning darkness into something beautiful with just your own two hands? Lite-Brite brought that spark alive, casting a gentle glow across bedrooms where dreams seemed almost within reach. Armed with colorful pegs and a sheet of black paper, youngsters could transform blank spaces into vibrant works of light. Each tiny bulb, placed with care, felt like adding a star to a private galaxy, one built with patience and pride. Lite-Brite didn't rely on fancy gadgets or endless rules. It welcomed every young creator to slow down, focus, and build something luminous from ordinary materials. While modern toys race toward bigger sounds and faster screens, the quiet satisfaction of crafting a glowing picture remains etched deeply in the hearts of those early artists. In every flickering pattern, Lite-Brite whispered a gentle truth, that even the smallest gestures, when made with care, can light up an entire world. Viewmaster. Few toys embraced the spirit of discovery quite like the Viewmaster. With a gentle click and a flash of light, this handheld viewer could transport a youngster to enchanted forests, lively cities, or the endless reaches of outer space. Each circular reel unveiled scenes stitched together in vibrant, three-dimensional snapshots that felt almost close enough to reach out and touch. The Viewmaster didn't merely entertain, it sparked curiosity, encouraging young dreamers to look beyond their familiar streets and imagine distant lands. Its charm was rooted in straightforward design, no batteries, no screens, offering a peaceful invitation to step into unseen worlds. While technology raced ahead, reshaping playtime with gadgets and graphics, this timeless viewer continued to evoke a sense of wonder. It still stands as a cherished bridge to an era when adventure came through a tiny lever and a flickering image, and when the spirit of exploration bloomed with every spin of a reel. Astro Ray Gun. Before video games turned living rooms into battlegrounds and galaxies, all it took was a plastic blaster and a boundless spirit to defend the universe. The Astro Ray Gun made its way into countless toy boxes, dazzling youngsters with flashing lights, buzzing sounds, and a design that looked straight out of a sci-fi epic. With every pull of the trigger, young adventurers found themselves voyaging through distant realms, chasing rogue aliens, or leading bold missions across the stars. The spirit of the space race still hovered in the air, and science fiction had woven itself deeply into pop culture. Toys like the Astro Ray Gun offered more than just sound and light. They reflected the energy of a generation reaching for the stars. While sleek consoles and digital marvels began filling shelves, the classic joy of imagining cosmic battles stayed just as vivid. That spark lives on in the hearts of those who once brandished a ray gun high, believing, if only for a heartbeat, that they were heroes guarding the galaxy. Is there a fun or touching story you remember involving one of your favorite childhood toys? Share your story in the comments below. Constructo Straws. Have you ever missed the quiet afternoons when a handful of plastic straws and a few basic connectors could build entire cities in your living room? Constructo Straws made that possible, turning kitchen floors into bustling skylines and backyards into sprawling metropolises. Sitting cross-legged on the worn carpet, threading each piece together with clumsy determination, the hours melted away without notice. Towers tilted, bridges crumbled, and sometimes entire creations toppled in a spectacular heap, only to spark another round of laughter and a fresh attempt. It wasn't about flawless construction. It was about bold ideas taking shape, piece by colorful piece. Constructo Straws nurtured perseverance, creativity, and the early roots of engineering skills long ahead of modern educational trends. While many toys today flash and beep for attention, nothing quite compares to the satisfaction of crafting something tangible from modest materials. Perfection. The ticking of a timer and the scatter of flying pieces once filled living rooms with a unique kind of energetic chaos that only a game like Perfection could deliver. This clever puzzle tested swift fingers and sharp minds, urging participants to slot mismatched shapes into their correct spots before time slipped away. As the final seconds dwindled, pulses quickened, and one wrong move could unleash that sudden dramatic pop, sending plastic bits soaring. Each session became a lively dance of speed and focus, demanding both rapid reactions and careful coordination. Beyond the rush, Perfection quietly sharpened hand-eye skills and nurtured concentration, offering a rewarding challenge beneath the fun. Long after the last piece was tucked away, the sharp click of the timer stayed vivid, bringing back bursts of laughter, wide-eyed gasps, and the stubborn determination to conquer the board. Modern games may overflow with flashing screens and digital dazzle, but few toys today can replicate the pure satisfaction of racing the clock with just a handful of colorful shapes and a heart pounding with determination. Telstar Console. How many dreams of digital adventure began with the hum of a simple console and the flicker of black and white on the family television? The Coleco Telstar offered a modest but captivating glimpse into what home entertainment could eventually become. Featuring straightforward games like tennis and hockey, operated by chunky dials and clunky buttons, Telstar introduced an entirely new form of play. Young gamers didn't need lifelike visuals or sprawling worlds. A bouncing square and two blinking paddles could spark hours of lively competition and laughter. As newer consoles burst onto the scene with sharper graphics and deeper sound, Telstar still stood as an important milestone. It carried the spirit of innovation, the belief that technology could transform a living room into an arena of fun. For many who spent afternoons twisting plastic knobs and chasing a pixel across the screen, the recollection isn't just tied to a machine. It's about witnessing the earliest sparks of a revolution that would eventually redefine entertainment itself. The excitement stirred by that bouncing square hasn't been lost to time. Beneath all the modern noise and spectacle, the quiet magic of those first simple games still flickers, proof that even the humblest beginnings can leave a lasting imprint on how we play, dream, and connect. Evel Knievel. Evel Knievel. The living room floor could become a stunt arena in an instant with nothing more than a tiny motorcycle and a child's endless drive for adventure. The Evel Knievel stunt cycle gave youngsters the power to turn cushions into crash pads and books into towering ramps. Each launch packed with wild hope and just the right touch of chaos. Inspired by Evel Knievel's daring feats, boys and girls everywhere cranked the toy to life, sending it racing across hallways, sidewalks, and backyards with fearless energy. Every spin of the crank brought a moment of suspense. Would the cycle soar cleanly over the obstacle, or tumble in a spectacular wipeout? Even when the motorcycle missed its mark, determination only grew stronger for the next attempt. The stunt cycle celebrated courage in a form compact enough to fit into eager hands. Flashier gadgets now dominate toy shelves, yet the bold spirit ignited by launching that plastic bike into the air lives on in those who once believed they could defy limits, one fearless jump at a time. Fisher-Price Little People. Was there ever a greater joy than lining up tiny figures and building a whole world around them? Fisher-Price Little People sparked endless afternoons of play, inviting youngsters to fill farms, schools, and bustling neighborhoods with characters of their own creation. With their rounded forms and smiling faces, these sturdy companions felt like familiar friends, always ready for the next grand story. Each playset unlocked another chapter, where every barn door, classroom, and fire station promised new adventures. As years passed, designs evolved and fresh generations were introduced, but the spirit carried by those early Little People stayed strong. They showed that a handful of toys could grow into entire landscapes, fueled by creativity and a few scraps of carpet. Toys today shine brighter and screens demand more attention, yet those tiny figures still stand tall in the hearts of those who once built vibrant towns and imagined endless possibilities, all from the floor of their childhood homes. Simon. Bright colors, flashing lights, and a steady beep once drew players into a silent, sweaty-palmed competition. Simon made its debut with no elaborate storyline or complicated setup, only pure, nerve-testing fun, wrapped inside a compact, circular device. The objective sounded straightforward: repeat an expanding sequence of sounds and lights without faltering. Yet as the patterns grew faster and hands hovered in nervous anticipation, tension thickened until one wrong move triggered a wave of groans and laughter. Simon tested not just reflexes, but also patience, focus, and resilience, rewarding steady nerves under mounting pressure. Its brilliance was found in how a few flashing lights could craft a battle of endurance and pride. While today's gaming world dazzles with virtual reality and endless special effects, Simon's blinking buttons still summon the spirit of a time when sharp concentration and quick hands ruled the room. For many, mastering that colorful ring wasn't just about keeping a sequence alive, it was about proving you could stay steady when everything around you was daring you to slip. Love a good nostalgia trip? Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell so you won't miss our next video. Hungry Hippos. Plastic hippos, a pile of rattling marbles, and a table full of shouting, laughing kids once turned any afternoon into a full-blown tournament. Hungry hippos charged onto the scene with a burst of energy that few could resist. The rules were easy to grasp. Slam your lever as fast as possible and hope your hungry hippo scooped up more marbles than the rest. Beneath all the laughter and commotion, sharp reflexes, quick timing, and sharp focus often separated the winners from the rest. Part race, part strategy, and full of hilarious chaos, the game quickly became a fixture at birthday parties, rainy afternoons, and lively family gatherings. The noisy scramble of marbles across the board and the rapid pounding of tiny hands still bring back images of rooms filled with cheers and good-natured rivalry. Hungry hippos embodied what playful afternoons were all about: noisy, unpredictable, and packed with moments when the real prize wasn't the win, but the pure joy of the chase itself. Raggedy Ann and Andy dolls. What could ever replace the feeling of a soft, floppy doll tucked under your arm on a rainy afternoon? Raggedy Ann and Andy, with their bright red yarn hair and stitched smiles, offered more than just comfort. They brought the warmth of familiar days into every child's world. Their gentle faces and handmade charm quickly turned them into trusted companions, standing ready to share secrets, adventures, and even quiet tears. Through every storybook page, the bond between these characters and young dreamers only grew deeper, threading tenderness into every playtime hour. As the years passed and toys became noisier and more high-tech, something continued to feel deeply moving about. A doll that asked for no screens, no sounds, only an open heart and a pair of eager arms. Raggedy Ann and Andy's lasting presence speaks to a universal truth: the basic human longing for friendship and care, lovingly stitched into cotton and thread. Weebles, little figures with rounded bottoms and endless smiles, once filled playrooms with the gentle lesson that falling wasn't failing. Weebles, those wobbling wonders from Hasbro, embodied the spirit of resilience with every cheerful tilt and bounce. Their egg-shaped design made toppling impossible, sparking constant laughter as they rocked, rolled, but always found their way upright again. In an era gradually turning toward flashing screens and electronic diversions, Weebles provided a different kind of delight, showing that persistence could be lively and that balance sometimes meant moving with the flow. Youngsters discovered a quiet reassurance in their determination, a steady message woven into each playful sway. Though newer toys now dazzle with lights and sounds, the image of a Weeble wobbling upright still feels strikingly familiar to those who grew up with them. Their charm has lasted, not because of complexity or innovation, but because of the comfort in seeing something refuse to stay down, no matter how many times it tipped. The Bionic Woman doll. Who says the strongest heroes always wore capes or carried shields? The Bionic Woman doll stepped into toy boxes with a quiet kind of power, offering children a different vision of what courage could look like. Modeled after Hami Summers, the television icon whose strength was matched only by her resilience, this figure stood apart from the glittery toys crowding the shelves. She wasn't about ball gowns or enchanted accessories. She was about action, intelligence, and grit. Holding the Bionic Woman felt like embracing a promise that bravery could wear many faces and that real-life heroes were just as powerful as those drawn in comic books. Beyond her fascinating bionic abilities, she encouraged youngsters to dream of futures where determination and compassion worked side by side. While modern trends often favor louder, tech-savvy characters, the influence of the Bionic Woman endures, offering a meaningful lesson that true strength is often revealed through perseverance, integrity, and an unshakable spirit. Fisher-Price Medical Kit. Small plastic tools and a red case once opened a whole new world where healing was an everyday adventure. The Fisher-Price Medical Kit gave children the chance to step into the roles of doctors and nurses, gently introducing the spirit of caregiving through playful moments. With tiny stethoscopes, toy thermometers, and friendly syringes, the set turned living rooms into makeshift clinics where stuffed animals and dolls became eager patients. Every bandaged teddy and carefully examined companion reflected more than pretend play. It nurtured early lessons in compassion, patience, and attentiveness. The medical kit taught youngsters that offering help and comfort could be a joyful part of growing up. While modern playthings often favor screens and rapid action, the enduring charm of a small doctor's bag reflects a truth: that the instinct to care, to mend, and to offer support takes root through the simplest gestures and the gentlest acts of play. Have you held on to any of your old toys after all these years? Starsky and Hutch toy cars. Sliding across wooden floors and weaving between furniture legs, a little red and white car once carried the dreams of countless young drivers chasing adventure. Starsky and Hutch toy cars, with their bold racing stripes and tough die-cast frames, turned ordinary afternoons into high-speed escapes. Modeled after the famous Ford Gran Torino from the hit TV series, these miniature machines didn't just roll, they roared through living rooms and backyards, powered by the endless creativity of children. Every skid, every screeching halt, every collision with a makeshift barricade pulled the action straight out of television and into everyday life. Beyond all the mock car chases, these vehicles became beloved possessions, reminders of afternoons spent racing against invisible foes. Long after the shows ended and new toys arrived, the sight of those classic stripes still sparks a grin, recalling a time when all you needed for a full-speed adventure was a smooth floor, a trusty car, and the boundless spirit of play. Willy. Is there anything more quietly satisfying than pulling a tiny magnetic wand across a smiling face and creating a masterpiece of wild hair and beards? Willy turned a humble toy into a playground for ideas. Each careful sweep of the wand brought new characters to life, sometimes looking serious, other times absolutely ridiculous, all shaped by magnetic filings and a steady hand. His wide-eyed, inviting face encouraged endless tinkering, where every quirky design felt like a brand new creation. Without flashing screens or complex setups, Willy offered a hands-on experience that celebrated patience and creativity. It was the kind of pastime you could hold close, letting a few simple strokes transform an empty face into something entirely your own. Every uneven mustache or towering hairstyle became a small victory over dull afternoons, while modern shelves now burst with noise and dazzling lights. Willy quietly stood apart, showing that real satisfaction can come from the smallest acts of play. Ants in the pants. Laughter once bounced off the walls as tiny plastic ants were launched into the air, all aiming for an oversized pair of pants. Ants in the Pants took a basic idea and turned it into a whirlwind of cheerful chaos, blending quick hands, lucky shots, and plenty of shouting into every round. With only a pile of springy ants and a target, it welcomed youngsters and grown-ups alike into moments of pure, light-hearted competition. Each perfect flip earned cheers, and every missed attempt sparked even more giggles across the room. No elaborate setup, no buzzing screens, just fast action, endless attempts, and a lot of spirited noise. Whether during family gatherings, rainy afternoons, or neighborhood playdates, this lively little game always found a way to steal the spotlight. Ants in the Pants showed that the greatest joys often came from the most hands-on challenges, fueled entirely by laughter and quick thinking. Super Spirograph. Delicate swirls, endless loops, and hypnotic patterns once unfolded across sheets of paper with just a few turns of a plastic gear and a pen. The Super Spirograph wasn't merely a way to pass time. It offered a space where art and precision could intertwine through graceful curves and geometric beauty. Youngsters became designers of intricate forms, each spin crafting something far beyond a casual sketch. With every glide of the pen, they encountered lessons in balance, proportion, and structured creativity, often without even noticing. The click and slide of the gears created a steady rhythm, a soft, absorbing cadence that tied thought to movement. While screens eventually flickered into homes and technology grew louder, the quiet satisfaction of drawing glowing, complex patterns by hand never truly faded. The Super Spirograph demonstrated that with patience, curiosity, and the humblest of tools, beauty could emerge naturally, blending art and mathematics into something both mesmerizing and enduring. Even today, those intricate designs carry a sense of wonder, quietly echoing a time when creativity didn't rely on apps or algorithms. It was simply about imagination, a steady hand, and the simple joy of watching a blank page come alive under your fingertips. Mickey Mouse Disney Dancer Toy. Does anything capture childhood wonder quite like the sight of Mickey Mouse twirling with a simple push? The Mickey Mouse Disney Dancer toy spun its way into children's hearts, turning living rooms into miniature stages of wonder and delight. With just a gentle push, Mickey would sway and spin, carrying with him all the whimsy and timeless spirit that Walt Disney dreamed of sharing with the world. No batteries, no screens, only the joyful movement that seemed to breathe life into a tiny figure. Holding that toy felt like cradling a piece of a bigger story, one that reached far beyond television sets and theme park gates. Every little dance showed that pure happiness didn't need flashing lights or loud fanfare. It could live beautifully in the simplest moments. While modern Disney adventures have grown larger and more elaborate, the charm of that dancer still lingers. Tomy pocket games. Small enough to slip into a pocket, but big enough to hold a child's full attention. Tomy pocket games brought a world of challenge wherever you went. With a few flicks, tilts, and twists, these clever little puzzles turned car rides, waiting rooms, and rainy afternoons into miniature adventures. No batteries were needed. No glowing screens demanded attention. Just the satisfying click of a marble settling into place or a ball landing exactly where it should. Every completed puzzle sparked a small triumph, rewarding patience and steady hands in a way few gadgets could match. Youngsters learned quickly that real satisfaction often came from persistence rather than flashiness. These handheld companions offered a kind of fun that moved at its own pace, inviting kids to slow down and savor the challenge. Today's portable entertainment hums with digital noise, yet the tactile pleasure of mastering a Tomy pocket game still holds a quiet kind of charm. They still stand as a testament to a time when creativity, focus, and a few well-placed moves were all it took to turn idle minutes into memorable adventures. Quick shot shoot. What if all it took to become the fastest draw in town was a toy revolver and a few pop-up targets? Quick shot shoot made that dream a reality, turning everyday spaces into dusty frontier towns filled with daring shootouts and quick draws. Armed with a plastic revolver and a set of pop-up targets, kids tested their reflexes, sharpened their aim, and fueled their sense of play, all in the name of friendly rivalry. Each clattering hit brought a flash of pride, while every missed shot pushed young gunslingers to focus harder and react quicker. No flashing screens, no buzzing gadgets, only the pure challenge of timing, coordination, and perseverance. Quick shot shoot wasn't merely about knocking down targets. It offered a small but real feeling of achievement with every successful round. Gaming has shifted toward high-definition graphics and immersive headsets, yet ducking behind a couch and facing down imaginary outlaws still brings a grin. This toy stands as a lively tribute to the days when the fastest hand and the sharpest eye ruled the living room battlefield. Tomy Tutor Typer. Every future tech whiz had to start somewhere, and sometimes it all began with a clunky little toy that clicked and clacked like a typewriter on a mission. The Tomy Tutor Typer turned learning into something playful, offering kids their first taste of typing words into existence with the satisfying pop of every key. Long before computer screens became part of daily life, this colorful machine opened the door to spelling, literacy, and the idea that pressing buttons could shape thoughts into sentences. It wasn't sleek or fast, but it was sturdy, cheerful, and endlessly patient. A gentle coach wrapped in plastic and enthusiasm. Each letter that appeared wasn't just practice. It felt like building a bridge to a world that was rapidly racing toward digital frontiers. While today's learning tools have evolved into apps and interactive screens, the humble tutor typer still holds a warm place in the story of how youngsters once learned to command language with their own two hands. It celebrated the wonder of creation during a time when typing was still an exciting, brand new adventure. Baby Come Back. Baby Come Back stood out as one of the earliest glimpses into interactive play, where a simple press of a button sparked real movement and real connection. This doll did more than entertain. It made children feel seen, their care and attention answered by a tiny mechanical gesture. At a time when most toys were silent and still, Baby Come Back quietly hinted at a future where toys would respond and engage, bridging playfulness and reality. Its crawling motion was delicate, almost tentative, yet it inspired a sense of awe that no flashy gadget could replicate. Watching the doll creep forward brought young caretakers a feeling of accomplishment, as if their nurturing had somehow made the toy come alive. While today's shelves are packed with smart toys and sophisticated robotics, Baby Come Back holds its place as a pioneer, proving that the bond between a youngster and their playthings doesn't need digital sophistication to feel real. With each slow crawl across the floor, this modest creation taught little ones that affection, patience, and gentle encouragement could turn the ordinary into something truly unforgettable. 1970s gadgets every kid dreamed of having. Want to travel back to the groovy 70s when lava lamps glowed and disco ruled? Join us as we unveil 20 iconic toys and gadgets that shaped modern tech. From handheld games to stretchy superheroes, let's rediscover the magic of 70s nostalgia. Speak and Spell. Speak and Spell's claim to fame was its ability to talk. Using a then cutting-edge speech synthesis chip, it could pronounce words, letters, and even give instructions. For kids in the 70s, this was like magic. Suddenly, learning to spell wasn't just about memorizing words on a page. It was an interactive experience with a talking robot tutor. The toy itself had a simple design: a keyboard, a speaker, and a display screen. Kids would type in words, and Speak and Spell would pronounce them, providing instant feedback and encouragement. It also offered various games and activities to make learning fun and engaging. Speak and Spell's popularity skyrocketed after it made a cameo appearance in the iconic movie E.T. Suddenly, everyone wanted to have their own talking spelling machine, just like the lovable alien. But Speak and Spell's impact went beyond its entertainment value. It was a pioneer in speech synthesis technology, paving the way for future developments in voice-activated devices and educational tools. The TMS5100 chip that powered Speak and Spell became a standard in early speech synthesis, influencing the development of countless products that followed. Speak and Spell's success can be attributed to its clever combination of education and entertainment. It made learning fun and accessible, and its innovative use of technology made it stand out from the crowd. Merlin. Merlin was more than just a game. It was an experience. It featured a grid of LEDs that lit up in various patterns, creating a mesmerizing display of lights and sounds. The game offered 6 different game modes, each with its own unique challenges and rules. Players used buttons to input commands and interact with the game, making it a truly interactive experience. Merlin's success was phenomenal. It sold a staggering 5 million units in its initial run, becoming one of the hottest toys of the late 70s. Its popularity stemmed from its ability to appeal to a wide range of ages and skill levels. The games were easy to learn, but offered enough depth to keep players engaged for hours. Merlin's innovative use of LEDs and sound effects added to its charm. The mesmerizing light patterns and catchy tunes created an immersive experience that drew players in and kept them coming back for more. One of Merlin's most memorable features was the secret sound it produced when you pressed all the buttons together. It was a hidden Easter egg that delighted players and added a touch of mystery to the game. If you remember that iconic sound, be sure to let us know in the comments below.
I got one for Christmas and it's really cool.
Pocket Fisherman. It's the 70s, and you're a kid itching to join the grown-ups on their fishing trips, but you're too young. Then, bam! The pocket fisherman hits the scene, and suddenly, you're part of the action. This ingenious little gadget looked like a real fishing rod, just shrunk down to fit in your pocket. It had a telescoping rod, a working reel, and even came with tiny lures. Kids went crazy for it because it wasn't just playing pretend. It felt like the real deal. You could cast, reel, and even catch fish, though they were usually plastic ones that came with the set. The pocket fisherman was a stroke of genius because it tapped into that universal childhood desire to be like the grown-ups. It was also incredibly clever in its design, making it portable and easy for kids to take anywhere. Plus, let's be real, it was a lifesaver for parents who wanted to keep their kids entertained without breaking the bank. Back then, the pocket fisherman was a steal, costing around $10 to $15. And guess what? You can still snag one today, though it'll set you back about $35. So, if you missed out on this iconic toy as a kid, now's your chance to relive that 70s magic and finally reel in your childhood dream. Mattel Electronic Football. Imagine a time before smartphones and fancy gaming consoles. Back then, Mattel Electronic Football was the cutting edge of portable entertainment. It was a small rectangular device with a red LED display that showed a simplified football field and players. You controlled a single running back, trying to weave your way past defenders and score a touchdown. The controls were basic, just a few buttons for moving left, right, and forward, and another for passing or kicking. But don't underestimate the depth of this game. It required strategy, timing, and quick reflexes to outmaneuver the opposing team. Mattel Electronic Football was a sensation for a reason. It was the first time many people had experienced a truly portable electronic game. You could take it anywhere, play it anytime, and it was incredibly engaging. Kids would spend hours huddled over the glowing red screen, trying to beat their high scores or challenge their friends. It was the kind of game that could turn anyone into a football fanatic, even if they didn't know a touchdown from a field goal. The game's simplicity was a key part of its appeal. It was easy to learn, but mastering it took practice and skill. And that's what made it so addictive. You could always try to improve your score, find new ways to juke past defenders, or perfect your passing game. Atari Pong. Pong's origins are surprisingly humble. Atari co-founder Nolan Bushnell assigned Alcorn the task of creating a simple tennis game as a way to learn the ropes of game development. Little did they know that the seemingly simple project would become a cultural phenomenon. Pong's gameplay was deceptively simple. Two players controlled paddles on either side of the screen, trying to hit a square ball back and forth. The goal was to score points by getting the ball past your opponent's paddle. Despite its minimalistic graphics and basic controls, Pong was incredibly addictive. The back-and-forth volleys, the satisfying sound of the paddle hitting the ball, and the competitive spirit it ignited made it an instant hit in arcades and bars across the country. Pong's success wasn't just about the gameplay, it was about the social experience it created. People would gather around the Pong machine, cheering, jeering, and challenging each other to matches. It was a game that brought people together, fostering a sense of community and friendly competition. Pulsar. Released in 1979, Pulsar was a unique and captivating experience that stood out in a crowded arcade scene with its innovative gameplay and immersive sound and light effects. Pulsar's gameplay was a clever blend of puzzle solving and action. Players controlled a tank in a top-down view maze with the objective of collecting keys to unlock the next level. The catch? The maze was constantly changing, with walls appearing and disappearing at regular intervals, keeping players on their toes and requiring quick thinking and adaptability. The game also featured 3 types of enemy tanks that roamed the maze, shooting at the player's tank whenever it crossed their line of fire. To replenish their fuel, players had to strategically destroy these enemies, adding another layer of challenge to the game. Pulsar's visuals and sound effects were a major part of its appeal. The game used vibrant colors and flashing lights to create a sense of urgency and excitement. The sound effects, including the tank's engine, the firing of lasers, and the explosions of enemy tanks, added to the immersive experience, making players feel like they were truly in the heart of a futuristic tank battle. Pulsar's success can be attributed to its innovative gameplay and its ability to capture the imagination of players. The constantly changing maze kept the game fresh and challenging, while the tank combat added an element of excitement and danger. The game's unique blend of puzzle solving and action made it a hit with both casual and hardcore gamers. Kodak Pocket Instamatic Camera. Before the Pocket Instamatic, photography was often seen as a hobby for enthusiasts with bulky, complicated cameras. But Kodak changed all that with its sleek, compact design and user-friendly features. The Pocket Instamatic was designed for portability. It could easily slip into a pocket or purse, making it the perfect companion for capturing everyday moments, vacations, and special occasions. Kodak also simplified the film loading process with its innovative 126 film cartridges. These cartridges were drop-in ready, eliminating the fumbling and frustration often associated with traditional roll film. While the Pocket Instamatic didn't offer instant prints like Polaroids, it made developing photos easier and more convenient. The 126 cartridges could be dropped off at photo labs or even mailed in for processing, making it a breeze to get your hands on those cherished memories. The Pocket Instamatic's impact on photography was immense. It democratized the art of capturing moments, allowing everyone, regardless of their technical expertise, to document their lives and share their experiences with others. Big Wheels. The Big Wheel's design was simple, yet brilliant. Its most striking feature was its massive front wheel, which gave it a low center of gravity and made it incredibly stable and easy to maneuver. This made it a safer alternative to traditional tricycles, especially for younger children who were still developing their balance and coordination. But the Big Wheel wasn't just about safety, it was about fun. The large front wheel and low-slung design allowed kids to lean into turns and experience a thrilling sense of speed and control. It was the perfect vehicle for neighborhood races, sidewalk adventures, and imaginative play. The Big Wheel's popularity soared in the 70s, thanks in part to its affordability. It was a toy that most families could afford, making it accessible to kids from all walks of life. Its sturdy plastic construction also meant that it could withstand the bumps and bruises of childhood play, ensuring that it would provide years of enjoyment. Do you still have any of these gadgets tucked away in the attic? Show us your vintage treasures in the comments. Simon. Launched in 1978 by Milton Bradley, Simon quickly became a household name. Its simple yet addictive gameplay captivated people of all ages. The game itself was a circular device with 4 brightly colored buttons: red, green, blue, and yellow. Simon would light up these buttons in a specific sequence, accompanied by catchy electronic tones. Your challenge? To repeat that sequence perfectly. Sounds easy, right? Well, as you progressed, the sequences got longer and faster, putting your memory and hand-eye coordination to the test. And if you messed up, Simon would let you know with a loud, unmistakable buzzer sound, and you'd have to start all over again. The beauty of Simon was its simplicity. Anyone could pick it up and play, regardless of age or gaming experience. But mastering it? That was a different story. It was the kind of game that could drive you crazy, but you just couldn't put it down. Simon's popularity wasn't just a fluke. It was a clever combination of challenging gameplay, vibrant colors, and those unforgettable sound effects. It was a game that could be enjoyed solo or with friends, making it a perfect party game or a way to pass the time on a rainy day. While the original Simon holds a special place in our hearts, there have been countless variations and updates over the years. But no matter how fancy the new versions get, the original Simon's magic remains unmatched. Atari 2600. It was one of the first home consoles to use interchangeable cartridges, which meant you weren't limited to just a few built-in games. You could buy new cartridges with all sorts of different games, from sports and racing to space adventures and puzzles. This opened up a whole new world of possibilities for home entertainment. The Atari 2600's game library was legendary. It featured iconic titles like Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Donkey Kong, and Pitfall, many of which are still recognized and enjoyed today. These games were simple by today's standards, but they were incredibly addictive and captured the imaginations of a generation. The console's success wasn't just about the games, it was also about its accessibility. The Atari 2600 was relatively affordable, making it a viable option for many families. It was also easy to set up and play, even for those who weren't tech-savvy. The Atari 2600's impact on the gaming industry cannot be overstated. It popularized home console gaming, paving the way for the countless consoles that followed. Lite-Brite. It consisted of a black screen with hundreds of tiny holes and a light source behind it. Kids would insert colorful plastic pegs into the holes, creating glowing designs that seemed to shimmer and dance in the dark. The magic of Lite-Brite was in its ability to transform simple pegs into vibrant works of art. Kids could follow pre-designed templates to create recognizable images, or let their imaginations run wild and create their own unique designs. The possibilities were endless. Lite-Brite's appeal wasn't just about the creative process. It was also about the mesmerizing effect of the glowing pegs. The light shining through the colored plastic created a vibrant, almost magical glow that captivated kids and adults alike. It was like having a miniature light show in your own home. Hasbro, the company behind Lite-Brite, was smart about keeping the toy relevant over the years. They introduced different versions, including flat-screen models, touchscreen versions, and even a 3D cube, ensuring that Lite-Brite continued to appeal to new generations of kids. Another factor that contributed to Lite-Brite's enduring popularity was its affordability. Despite inflation, Hasbro managed to keep the price relatively stable, making it an accessible toy for families of all income levels. Please comment 1 to let me know you'll be watching this video until the end. Evel Knievel Stunt Cycle. This wasn't just a toy motorcycle, it was a tribute to the legendary stuntman himself, Evel Knievel, the man who fearlessly soared over buses and canyons on his motorcycle. Kids back then idolized Evel, and the stunt cycle let them recreate his amazing feats, albeit on a smaller, safer scale. The toy featured a plastic Evel Knievel figure perched atop a motorcycle, but the real magic was in the Energizer. This hand-cranked launcher was the key to launching Evel and his bike into action. You'd wind it up, release the cycle, and watch it zoom across the floor, popping wheelies, and even jumping over obstacles. It was pure adrenaline-fueled fun. The Evel Knievel stunt cycle was a smash hit because it captured the spirit of Evel's daring stunts. It let kids experience the thrill of motorcycle jumps without the risk of broken bones. Plus, it was just plain cool to have a toy modeled after such a larger-than-life figure. The toy's popularity didn't fade quickly either. The company behind it, Ideal Toy Company, kept it fresh by releasing updated versions and variations throughout the 70s. They added new features, different bikes, and even a stunt van to keep kids coming back for more. Easy Bake Oven. Introduced by Kenner in the early 60s, the Easy Bake Oven was a revolutionary toy that captured the imaginations of children everywhere. It was a miniature oven powered by a light bulb that allowed kids to bake small cakes, cookies, and other treats with ease and safety. The Easy Bake Oven's appeal was undeniable. It gave kids a sense of independence and accomplishment, allowing them to create their own culinary masterpieces. The process was simple. You'd mix the ingredients, pour the batter into a special pan, slide it into the oven, and wait for the light bulb's gentle heat to work its magic. The Easy Bake Oven was more than just a toy. It was a learning experience. It taught kids basic baking skills, including measuring ingredients, following instructions, and understanding the science behind baking. It also fostered creativity and imagination, allowing kids to experiment with different flavors and decorations. The Easy Bake Oven's popularity soared in the 70s, thanks in part to its clever marketing campaigns. TV commercials showed kids gleefully baking and decorating their own treats, making it a must-have toy for any aspiring chef. However, the Easy Bake Oven also faced some challenges. The need to purchase separate ingredients for each baking project was seen as inefficient and costly by some parents. Snoopy Snow Cone Machine. The Snoopy Snow Cone Machine was a stroke of marketing genius. Capitalizing on the immense popularity of the Peanuts comic strip, the machine featured Snoopy prominently, perched atop his iconic red doghouse. For kids who loved Snoopy, this was an irresistible combination. The machine itself was simple to operate. You'd add ice cubes to the top, turn it on, and watch as Snoopy magically transformed them into fluffy snow. Then, you'd add your favorite flavored syrup and serve it up in paper cones, just like at the carnival or the beach. The Snoopy Snow Cone Machine was a hit with kids for several reasons. First, it allowed them to create their own treats, giving them a sense of independence and creativity. Second, it was a fun and engaging activity, perfect for hot summer days or parties. And third, it was Snoopy. Who could resist the charm of that lovable beagle? The Snoopy Snow Cone Machine's popularity was so widespread that it even earned a spot on Time magazine's list of 100 best toys in history. Viewmaster. Get ready to step into a world of 3D wonder with the Viewmaster, the iconic stereoscopic viewer that brought breathtaking images to life in the 70s. Long before virtual reality headsets and 3D movies, the Viewmaster offered a unique and immersive way to experience the world, captivating audiences of all ages. The Viewmaster's magic lay in its special reels of film. Each reel contained 7 pairs of stereoscopic images, which, when viewed through the Viewmaster's lenses, created a stunning 3D effect. It was like holding a window to another world, allowing you to explore far-off lands, marvel at natural wonders, or witness historical events as if you were there. While the Viewmaster was originally introduced in the late 1930s, its popularity surged in the 70s, thanks in part to its educational value. Viewmaster reels often featured scenes of nature, historical landmarks, and travel destinations, making it a popular tool for schools and families alike. It was a fun and engaging way to learn about the world, sparking curiosity and a thirst for knowledge in countless children. But the Viewmaster wasn't just for education. It was also for entertainment. In the 70s, Viewmaster began releasing reels featuring popular characters and themes, such as Disney movies, Peanuts cartoons, and even Star Wars. This broadened the appeal of the Viewmaster, making it a must-have toy for kids of all ages. The Viewmaster's success can be attributed to its ability to transport viewers to another place and time. The 3D effect was truly immersive, creating a sense of wonder and excitement that few other toys could match. It was a window to the world, a portal to imagination, and a source of endless entertainment and learning. Stretch Armstrong. Stretch Armstrong was more than just a doll. He was a phenomenon. He was a short, muscular figure with blonde hair and black trunks, and his defining feature was his incredible elasticity. You could grab his arms and legs and stretch them to incredible lengths, up to 4 or 5 feet. And when you let go, he'd slowly return to his normal size, as if by magic. The secret to Stretch Armstrong's stretchability was a unique gel-like substance inside his body. This substance, combined with a durable latex skin, allowed him to withstand all sorts of stretching and twisting without breaking. And if a tear did develop, a simple adhesive bandage could patch him right up. Stretch Armstrong's development was a fascinating journey. The initial idea was to create a stretchy sumo wrestler figure, but that design proved too bulky. So they shifted gears and created the all-American blonde hunk we all know and love. The first Stretch Armstrong figures were made by dipping a resin mold into latex, a process that created a surprisingly durable and resilient toy. Kids loved Stretch Armstrong for his unique playability. He was more than just a static figure. He was an interactive toy that encouraged imagination and creativity. You could tie him in knots, stretch him around corners, and even use him as a slingshot, though that wasn't officially recommended. Stretch Armstrong's popularity soared in the 70s, and he became a cultural icon. Electronic Battleship. This classic game took the strategic gameplay of the original Battleship board game and amped it up with exciting electronic features, making it a must-have for kids and adults alike in the 70s. Electronic Battleship brought a whole new level of immersion to the classic naval combat game. Instead of manually marking hits and misses on a paper grid, players used electronic consoles with buttons and displays to track their attacks and defenses. The game featured realistic sound effects, including explosions, sonar pings, and the iconic "miss" and "hit" announcements, making it feel like you were commanding a real fleet of warships. The gameplay remained true to the original Battleship, with 2 players secretly placing their ships on a grid and then taking turns calling out coordinates to attack their opponent's fleet. The goal was to sink all of your opponent's ships before they sank yours. But Electronic Battleship added a layer of excitement with its electronic features. The consoles tracked hits and misses automatically, and the sound effects added a dramatic flair to the game. It was a thrilling blend of strategy, luck, and anticipation. Electronic Battleship's popularity wasn't just a fluke. It tapped into the timeless appeal of naval combat and combined it with the excitement of emerging electronic technology. It was a game that could be enjoyed by people of all ages and skill levels, making it a perfect family game or a way to challenge your friends to a strategic duel. Radio-controlled cars. Radio-controlled cars, often referred to as RC cars, were a groundbreaking innovation in the toy industry. They allowed kids to control the movement of a miniature car from a distance using a handheld remote, giving them a sense of freedom and control that was unlike anything they had experienced before. The early RC cars of the 70s were relatively simple compared to today's sophisticated models, but they were no less exciting. They typically featured basic forward, reverse, left, and right controls, allowing kids to navigate their cars around obstacles, race against friends, and create their own imaginative courses. The appeal of RC cars was undeniable. Kids could experience the thrill of driving without the need for a driver's license or a full-sized car. They could create their own racetracks in their backyards, driveways, or even living rooms, transforming their everyday surroundings into miniature racing circuits. The ease of operation made RC cars accessible to kids of all ages and skill levels. The simple controls allowed even young children to grasp the basics of steering and maneuvering, while older kids could master more advanced techniques like drifting and performing stunts. The popularity of RC cars in the 70s was fueled by a sense of wonder and excitement about technology. The ability to control a car from a distance using radio waves seemed like magic to many kids. HP 65 Programmable Calculator. Introduced by Hewlett-Packard in 1972, The HP65 was one of the first programmable calculators available to the general public. It allowed users to store and execute programs, essentially turning it into a miniature computer that could perform complex calculations with speed and accuracy. The HP65's design was both functional and elegant. It featured a sleek metallic case with a bright LED display that showed numerical results and programming instructions. Its keyboard was logically laid out, making it easy to enter data and program commands. Under the hood, the HP65 was powered by a groundbreaking microprocessor and utilized magnetic card readers for storing and loading programs. This allowed users to create custom programs for specific tasks or use pre-written programs for common calculations, making it an incredibly versatile tool. The HP65 was primarily targeted at professionals and advanced users, including engineers, scientists, and business people. Its ability to perform complex calculations and execute programs made it an invaluable tool for those who needed to solve intricate problems on the go. Its high price tag of nearly $800 reflected its advanced capabilities and target audience. The HP65's impact on the world of computing was significant. It paved the way for more powerful and affordable programmable calculators, eventually leading to the development of personal computers and the widespread availability of computing power. Did any of these gadgets spark a wave of nostalgia for you? Share your favorite 70s toy memories in the comments. These toys built the worlds we once imagined. Which one brought back the biggest memories for you? Let us know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more.